Meeting of the Griggs County Commission to order on January 21st, 21, at 2:30. You stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now roll call. John.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Stephanie.
Here.
Dale is here. We get approval of the agenda.
The only thing that was changed since when I sent it last night was we added the EDC board appointment to it.
Okay. I motion to approve the agenda with the EDC board added.
Motion by Stephanie to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm gonna look over the January 7th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the commission proceedings and minutes from January 7th.
I'll second.
And dispense with reading.
Yeah, dispense the reading, sorry.
Motion by Scott to approve the January 7th meeting minutes and dispense with reading. A second by Stephanie. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Yes, we'll take a look at the vouchers.
Those ones that you had questions on, Wayne is here to talk about those. It was the county engineers and the OnSolve.
I don't see that listed. Non-solve isn't listed in the minutes.
I think it's just the county engineers one the question was on.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just the county engineer one that you wanted to join.
Okay, as long as the other one's paid. Yeah, the North Dakota Association of County Engineers. I've belonged to that association since 1993.
Oh, so you've always been part of it?
Yes. I have copies of the last vouchers, the last 2 years. Sarah said she didn't have a vendor number. Vendor number is 140280.
Okay. We're just kind of curious, what are you getting out of it? Is it worth what was
Well,
it,
it is
$100? Was it due?
I don't belong to the National Association of County Engineers. That's a separate
Right?
deal. That used to be a part of our North Dakota Association,
Mm-hmm.
which it cost a lot more to register and everything. And then they went away from that combination of having one person for each county. They wanted to have a representative from each county to this is for the North Dakota one, so that if something comes up in the legislature or whatever.
Yep.
We can make a decision as an association that we support
Mhm.
this, say, the prairie dog funding or something like that.
Yep.
And so if they see there's 53 counties
Mhm.
that belong to the association, then that's worth more. And as far as the national, they wanted to have representatives from every state and county in that also, because, well, we had several members from our North Dakota board that have been on the National Association of County Engineers boards. And they meet with Congress and Senate and the transportation boards in Washington. So if we have something that we need, we'd like to be included in the legislation and stuff, then
Mhm.
do that.
Okay.
So,
And then the on-solve one was an addition to the bills
Yeah, the
last
on-solve
time,
one.
and so that didn't get added.
Oh, yes.
So then that's in here as well, and that's the
unsolved is
code red
Code
one.
red.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go to the Griggs County website and open up the page,
Yep.
there it is, code red, right on there. And that's to, is a reverse 911 is what it was first called. So if there is a problem, say the sheriff has someone running, he got out of the car and was running on Cooperstown, he could circle the whole Cooperstown, push the button, and it would send out a phone call or a text message to everybody that's registered. They have to go on that Code Red website there, and give your phone number and your name. It's confidential, nobody else gets it. You can use your cell phone or your landline.
I don't think there was a question on that bill. It was just the sake that wasn't late, so we figured that
Yeah.
everybody, you all need to just have your bills in on time. We won't. So if it,
It was done on time, but I don't know when it got.
oh, I mean on her current list.
Yeah.
You're just gonna make sure if it think of the current list, we'll go into the next one.
Sometimes it doesn't get walked around that call
Right.
from one office to the other.
Sometimes it's a long walk.
Is this something we've always had, the code red
Yeah.
in front of it?
We've had Code Red since 2009.
Yeah. Okay.
So back to the Engineers Association, or whatever we're calling that. Explain to me again how that's a benefit to the taxpayer.
It benefits the taxpayer by getting more money for your roads,
How?
by going to the legislature and saying, we need more money for the roads. If it's, just like any other association, if there's a bunch of people with the same idea, you're gonna get your,
It's also information that you are included upon when they go to the legislature. You know what is going to the legislature. You know
What's that? What
they
is that
notify us
reference?
the
what's
education
coming
on
up,
that.
what's
It's
coming up in the
marriage.
legislature, and if
It's
we want
it's
to have any say about it or
supplies in the
anything.
marriage
Well,
license or something.
And this is the
Yeah.
state one, not the national one.
This
This
is
is the
the
state one.
state
I'm good with the
Just
state one.
how we have it named in this.
So what I'm getting at, Wayne, is this, we've run into it before where we have organizations lobbying the legislature for things that aren't necessarily beneficial to the taxpayers of Griggs County. So it's same thing in this instance. Now we have a unelected official, you, belonging to an organization that is going to go lobby on behalf of who?
Griggs County.
How,
It
no,
benefits Griggs County, yes.
the way to determine if they're lobbying on
benefit
behalf
every
of Griggs County is if they are an elected official of Griggs County. That gives the people the chance to decide what the opinion is supposed to be put forward to lobby for. Otherwise, it is your opinion, or my opinion, or someone else's.
Right.
So we shouldn't have bureaucrats deciding what is the best for Griggs County.
So that's most
We
of the
should
time,
have,
that's why
we should
you,
have elected officials
that's
deciding
why
what's
you have
best for
somebody
Griggs County.
representing.
The representing
You
is
can't
correct,
do
and
it.
representing is by a vote of the people. That's correct. You should have somebody representing Griggs County, not an unpaid bureaucrat.
I'm looking out for the best interest of Griggs County.
I like the information that we get with being associations like that, especially when they're in the legislature, that they give you the information that you need during the time, so, and keep you posted as to where everything is and what it is, and keep the updates. Again, I'm cool with that, Bill. That's all I got. I'm good with you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
So is that still on our list of outstanding bills?
It's been added.
It's added in there, yep.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions on them? Okay.
Make a motion to,
Yep, I'll motion to accept bills as,
Motion by Stephanie to accept the bills as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Scott. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Nay.
Scott?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Stephanie?
aye.
Dale votes aye. Motion carries. Do you have anything else for us, Wayne? You're on the agenda as road superintendent along with KLJ.
I have Paul Bjornson here from KLJ, got some updates on Griggs County's progress and different projects and stuff.
Sure, I think I got one for everybody here.
Okay, thank
As we're around here, we got two different handouts. One is the ongoing projects and one is potential projects coming up. I think again, more or less came to introduce myself to was Paul Bjornson with KLJ out of the Devil's Lake office. And I see a couple new faces here, so congratulations on your wins here in the election. I guess so basically all the projects that we're working on are basically wrapped up except for the one highlighted item. Oh, do you want to send those around there, Joe?
Oh.
Yeah, there's two different ones, two stabs.
I was thinking about censoring.
Not a lot has changed.
Oh, do you need one for yourself?
Probably kick me out, but basically matched that.
I think there's two different ones, so,
Well, I got.
there we go.
Okay, if there's one more, I'll take the
Oh.
set.
They're different.
Nope, yep.
I have extra, oh, I got an extra here,
Perfect.
an extra something.
Is there one more with the yellow highlight on it?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll look at project updates first. County Road 26 is done. All the paperwork's in on that, so I'll take it off the list. We still have to get the final project certification in on the box culvert from a couple of years ago, but all the right-of-way stuff is done. So it basically is one letter that I'll be bringing to the commission for approval, just to say that we spent the money, the state money. Decker Bridge, that'll need a inspection again this summer. It's code 3 alert. Basically the banks of the channel push the abutments in, and the tension members that are across the bottom of the bridge are pushed against each other when they should be in tension. So that one needs an inspection every year until it gets fixed or replaced or closed. I guess are the three options for that.
And how many years have we been, had you
3, I think, 4 maybe.
inspecting?
I think so. It's about around 1,500 a year,
Yeah.
a little bit less. The agreement that we bring every year is for that amount, but it's hourly, so it usually is. It's always been under that by a little bit. And then that's not the alert code 3s aren't being covered by the state's contract for inspection with the other consultants that got that work. And then the County Road 3 chip seal, that's all done and will be taken off the list too. So basically the only to-do items are the bridge inspection and then that one letter. Then the potential projects coming up that I guess we've kind of identified with Wayne and the commission on, over previous conversations over the last couple of years would be the Decker Bridge replacement. The DOT's approved funding for that, but you gotta come up with a local match at the local level, and that's roughly $380,000 it would take to, between design and construction engineering, that it would take to replace that structure. That's 1 mile east and 8 miles north of town here. then the other thing that's on your federal aid program sheet is, there's 4 separate chip seals totaling 22 miles. They kind of are grouped in 2 11-mile or 1 22-mile project. If you wanted to do it in 2022, you could borrow ahead 1 year to get that work done. Local share would be about $183,000 to do all of that, including 15 to 20,000 for design engineering, and construction engineering and construction would be at 19% of the total. So basically, one thing the county should really look at doing is budgeting at least the local match of your federal funds. You get about $150,000 a year, so 20% of that. It would be a really good idea to start putting that away as a line item so you can do a project when they come up. Scour analysis on structures. One site needs to be done. Estimated cost for us to do that would be about $2,000. Anything built after, I think, 93 has to have it done. There's only been one that we didn't, but that was done before, that was out, one that we hadn't designed. Then I guess you guys did the emergency grade raise on County 8 with your own funds and hired that out locally, so you're not committed to doing that with ERFO funds or emergency relief funds, but it would qualify if you guys did want to go ahead with that or some other work on that road. Then I guess you guys had talked about a culvert upgrade on County number 2. I don't know, the water board was doing some improvements on that channel, and had kind of asked the county to upgrade that structure. I don't know if that's something that you guys are still looking at, or if they've done any further work. I guess I hadn't heard anything about it for a few months.
Where's that at, coming to?
County 2, it's up there by Houston's, on Houston's.
Yeah, so,
Blacktop there.
oh, there, okay,
So I think there's one 5-foot culvert there now.
Creek.
okay.
Yeah, there's 2 culverts there.
2, okay. But if you want anything done on that, just let us know. Is there any other projects you guys have that aren't on the list or that you're looking at getting started on? I know the Red Willow Road is in pretty tough shape, especially through that slough.
Very rough.
Yeah, but with the constant water there, I don't think there's any way to fix that. The freeze thaw cycle, it's every year. You know,
Yeah.
And that water never goes away, so the water's under the road, it freezes, or it comes up.
Yeah.
Spring it goes down, and it's been that way for years. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole time I've lived there, it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any fixing it, rather, other than a bridge or something.
Yeah.
I know they got bad by Stuckett's place there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the main thing that the state has been doing up in, especially in the Devil's Lake Basin, is if they put a couple feet of fill on it and get it so that there's at least a few feet of dry material that the traffic has to work with, that they've been able to get those fixed up. But it's, yeah, a pretty expensive project to do that kind of thing.
The rest of the road's in pretty good shape.
Right. So I guess I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's actually happening.
On the Decker Bridge, what's your opinion on how, is it, I guess, what kind of shape do you think it's in? Is it need to be replaced in 10 years, 20 years? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it hasn't moved since we started measuring it. It's been pretty stable, so if there's not a huge flood event or a bad spring, it's probably just gonna stay the way it is. It's load posted is the only issue, and that's why it's on the federal aid program sheet. The DOT set aside bridge funds for 80% of the cost of the replacement. And I think the county pushed that out to 2023 for bid opening. But that's just a planning document. It's not, the county's not committed to that.
What's the tonnage on that bridge now?
I don't know, was it 8 or 16?
6 or 8, isn't very much.
No, I think it's 6. It's like
Okay, so just a car, pretty much.
12,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, basically
Yep.
it's close to anything big.
Yep.
And it isn't, you know, all that far around, I guess, to get out on the highway, but
Fair ways.
it does impact people.
And you're bringing that big machinery around the highway.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Be nice if they wouldn't have to. But so far, we've been very lucky. There hasn't been an accident there by doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's been closed for so long.
Yes.
It's,
Everybody's
I mean,
found
the-
their ways around it.
right, I mean, so if there was a need, there is no longer because it's been closed for
Yeah.
as long as I can remember, as
Yep.
far as anything going over it, so.
Other than with a pickup or a.
There's certainly other places that will be more beneficial to spend the money, and looking forward, we're probably gonna be into a position where funds are limited. You know, North Dakota oil money brings a lot of money downstream into the townships,
Yep.
the cities, the counties, and from the way it looks, without a pipeline and with new restrictions probably coming on that is going to further dry up. So a lot of these projects are dependent on the local match. The local match is dependent on outside money, state money. So I think we're gonna have to be very frugal in how we move forward here, just from lack of funds. And how long that lasts, I don't know, but that's probably something long out into the future here.
right, and I guess if that structure isn't needed as much, I guess the main priority then would be maintaining the current pavements that you have, so the chip seals would probably be the better
Yeah.
use of funds.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of that, it would be a good idea, you know, I know the budget's set already for this year, but looking forward for the following year, setting the local match aside for whoever does that work would be a good idea.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Hey, thanks, Paul.
All right, thanks guys.
Nice meeting you.
Wayne, I have a question for you.
Yep.
What became of our bridges we sold for $1? Did they get removed?
They're still sitting.
Was there
Sell them again.
a time limit on when they had to have them?
Well, there was, but if you can get them out of there,
Well,
it'd be great.
I just thought of
I
that.
haven't talked
I
to them.
think his timeline was October, wasn't it?
Yeah,
What bridges did that?
the one down by Ewan Dam.
Oh, yeah.
And then the one up North Overby.
Okay.
Think you're gonna have to go renegotiate the price?
Maybe we have to go help them. Like you said, maybe that crane wasn't big.
Next.
Okay, Rebecca,
You want me to stand up?
please. Here's-
Hi, for those that you may or may not know me, I'm Rebecca Susay. I purchased the old Scrap and Stay house here in town, right across the street. This is my husband Alex, and this is one of our property owners, Roger Holland. And we've been remodeling several apartment buildings here in town. And needless to say, we've been cleaning up a lot of messes. What I'm here to ask for, and I'm not throwing Wes, our deputy, under the bus, but what we need is city law enforcement. I know they don't have a contract. And I'm here begging you guys, we need city law enforcement. The problem here that we are having is drugs. I don't know if people are not aware of the drug problem. I'm a retired deputy sheriff from San Bernardino County, California. And I know Wes cannot always enforce city codes because he doesn't have a contract.
Can I make it before we get
Sure.
all off path, which we already are? The county commission does not have control over the sheriff's department. In North Dakota, the option is to have the police see the sheriff's department either as an elected official, which Wes is, or it can be under the control of the county commission. But Wes is an elected official. Wes is
Right.
responsible to the voters of Griggs County. The county commission cannot assign policy to the sheriff's department.
we are strictly in charge of his budget.
Okay.
On a second note, we certainly have zero control over the city policing.
Okay.
That is, the only thing that Wes offers to every citizen of Griggs County is to enforce the laws of the United States and North Dakota. And that's his obligation, and he is directly responsible to the voters.
Right.
So we, as a board, cannot and would not try to influence the policy of the sheriff's department.
So really, there's nothing that we can do toward, getting Wes some help or giving him the city contract or getting
That would
help
be
and-
something you'd have to negotiate with the city. They're autonomous to the county,
All right.
and we just have, whether we sympathize with or are in opposition to what you're saying, we have zero
Zero control.
ability to do anything.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
Sorry.
I just want to add one thing, just as a property owner here. I own rental property in Ward County, and I understand, Ward County has got a population of 70,000 people. But I live in a little farm town, Berthold, about half the size of Cooperstown. And I have property in a small, I have a rental in a small town 9 miles away, Carpio. And in our county, and I'm not a member of the county commission, but we have a city policeman that the county has. It's a joint agreement between the county and like 3 cities, and the city policeman. He's very effective, and he works both under the county and the jurisdiction of the cities. So, in that particular county, I know the county commissioners have some input on the sheriff's department, like, in order to make this share policing arrangement, they work together. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out. It works real well in our county, but I understand you probably have more budget constraints here because of I know, what is there, 2,200 people in Griggs County, where we have 70,000.
Well, this isn't a budget issue, so to speak. This is a.
Would you speak up a little?
This isn't a budget issue, so to speak. This
Yeah.
is a constitutional, North Dakota constitutional
uh-huh.
issue. We have zero control
Sure.
over the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could help the sheriff's department.
Yeah, well, we're just interested in having a little more support from law enforcement, so that we know that there's drugs going on on some of our property. There has been in the past, and we would just like some support. Is what we're looking for, And I realize sounds like it's beyond you don't have anything to say about it. We have to address it to the sheriff, but so we'll appreciate some help from you, Wes.
We, my county, or my office, does do state law in the city of Cooperstown.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And we do work drugs. The average citizen isn't gonna be aware of that because we are not gonna give that information out. We
No.
don't talk about it.
Mhm.
So we are working it,
Oh, yeah. Well, good.
but we are 3 people.
That was my whole point of coming here. There's only 3 people. And I know sometimes Wes can be stretched thin.
So we have 1 person per 700, is what you're kind of saying. I live in town. I live on
Sure.
the east side of town, and I've seen the sheriff's vehicle patrol by
Uh-huh.
and that sort of thing.
And that's good.
I've lived here all my life. I don't know of any of my neighbors that I have a real big problem with.
No.
And
No.
I think it's isolated cases that you're talking about.
Yeah, it is.
And I think our sheriff's department does a fine job of
Sure.
what they're doing. Are they supposed to be dog catcher and pooper cleaner upper? That, I believe, is the property owner's job.
Yeah.
I've got some rentals too, and
Uh-huh.
And
You know,
I
I'm
don't
not,
expect the sheriff's department to go
No.
and do those kinds of things for me, so I think it's the state laws and like John has said, and that's what.
it is important, I know, to keep a handle on the drugs in these small cities, you know, I know.
Yeah,
you know,
oh, absolutely.
You know,
I guess I have a little bit of input as a state's attorney. There's no secret that there's drugs in this community. There's
Absolutely.
no secret that there's drugs in every small community.
Mhm.
However, I can't, or Wes can't just have someone come up to him and say, hey, someone is smoking meth or someone is smoking pot, go arrest them. That isn't how the law works, and that's not how we establish probable cause. It takes some time to figure out these cases, and it takes some time to do investigation. And with the information that the sheriff's department gets from you guys as landlords, that's helpful, but sometimes that's not enough to develop a case.
Absolutely.
And I work side by side with Wes on these cases, and I can tell you that it's no secret that we know individuals that are involved with drugs, and it's no secret that Wes has tried his damnedest to get these people. And we worked with BCI, we worked with the feds, and some of this stuff just doesn't come together all the time. I grew up in this community. My family still lives outside of the community. I plan on being around here for a long time. I think that we all want to get rid of drugs, but it's a lot harder than just going and saying, hey, this person is smoking pot, or I think this person is smoking pot, or doing that. It's a lot more complicated than that. And I can attest that the sheriff's department is trying their damnedest. And it's not necessarily that they don't have enough manpower. It's just that sometimes you can't catch them. I mean, I have had a lot of cases where the sheriff's department in both the counties I work in, they have a pretty good hunch of who is doing what and what's going on, but you have to have that evidence to give you probable cause to do something. And that's where sometimes this is missing, and it's not from lack of manpower, or I don't think, and it's not from a lack of trying. It just, sometimes the puzzle pieces just don't always fall together.
sure, yeah, and it all takes money, and this person that I've referred to that's helped us in our small county areas in Ward County, and that's all, he gets help from the Ward County for that, but they have drug sniffing dogs, and you wouldn't, they've made 4 or 5 of the biggest drug busts in North Dakota with those drug sniffing dogs. So it's, you know, it's something that we all have to address, and I realize maybe Griggs County can't swing something like that, but I've talked to this fellow, his name is Alex Smith. He's retired minded Air Force policeman, and he's just very effective, and he's addressing what you're saying. You know, it's hard to nail those people down, but with the right investigations and the right equipment, like with these dogs, I know it's really helped him. You know, and there again, he's working with many more officers than are available over here.
You're operating from the assumption that everybody is of the same level of enforcement here. We live in a democracy, and so what one person wants or what one person thinks is not enough law enforcement, the next person might believe is too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we advocate for a point like this, we have to, and when we're listening to it, which the public listens to it, it is a group decision.
Yes.
And typically, if we're on the wrong track, a large group rises up and says, we need more law enforcement, or we need less law enforcement, or we need this or that. So, not to throw water on any of these ideas, but you have to understand that as a group or as any public entity, you have to take a little bit of everything with a grain of salt, because you're not sure you're dealing with the majority view. And that's what we are to do, is to present the majority view. And really the only way to do that is with the vote of the people on a lot of these things, or to monitor how much disagreement or agreement there is with any
I
certain
understand
opinion.
that. I'm a businessman. I've
Yeah.
farmed all my life. I've owned lots of rental properties in Wisconsin and North Dakota. I understand that.
So-
And everything has to make financial sense.
So any one of us might agree with your opinion, or they might disagree with your opinion, but we can't move forward with your opinion, anybody's opinion, until we're sure that's the majority of you, the people we represent.
And I think Wes has taken advantage of bringing a dog in at different occasions that I know of. And so it isn't like we aren't using the technology and the things that are available to us. It's just that.
Well, that's good, that if you're aware of it. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for listening to us.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you. Mary.
Who's the mountain man? I just helped him look twice.
Things got better looking at the head of the table.
If I'd known that, I'd have been here earlier.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to update the picture.
Yeah, thought about that too.
Wes, did you bring your camera? America's Most Wanted.
Everyone's got a camera.
America's Most Wanted, yeah.
So I can shave it off and disappear incognito.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess we're having a little trouble deciding what to do with our IT services when we're not on the same page here.
Okay, so what's your question? Where do you want to start?
Well, I think Travis had some issues with two people working on the county system, and I think we've all had some concerns that when you have two contractors running off the same server, who's responsible when there's issues that one contractor may have caused that affect the entire system.
Sure. So Travis controls the server and Energy controls our computers. So Energy is not in the server part at all. So
She has.
There's so many different components to this. So
Yeah, well, that's
so Energy, the system that the IT person company that I went with was Energy. They're an independent contractor. They're located in Bismarck. They work with a lot of the counties. They know the county software, the county programs. They come in and they help us. If we have an issue with one of our programs is not responding, Energy can come into our computers and fix it or put a ticket into North Dakota ITD to have it fixed. That has nothing to do with the server.
She has this company work on their individual workstations and the software that they use for their business.
okay.
Travis works on the server that is here.
in
So-
the individual computers in this
building. Yeah. Yep. So her company just manages her computers and her software that they use. You know, if she has a problem wrong with her Medicaid software, whatever, she contacts this NRC and say, "Hey, we're having issues here." They will help her get back on business there.
So there isn't any conflict with Travis's. He seemed to imply that there was going to be.
Well, there is, because you're missing a point here. All her computers still run through our connection and through all our servers. So if there is a contradiction between the software that Mary's running and the software we are running, or there's a contradiction to the state, it will cause problems on our network. They're using our network to tie their servers to tie their equipment both in Nelson County and Griggs County to the state. It still comes, without our system, it doesn't work.
I think your Medicaid software is all online.
That's all web-based.
It's all web-based software.
Yeah, through our servers, because we have to have a dedicated,
Nope, it's on her computer in itself. And her.
You can't go directly online. You have to be secure through our server system. Because we are a state entity, a government entity, everything, we can't go directly online. Samantha can't pick up her computer and go do business online without going through our server system.
do you dial into the server here and then go onto the web base there?
So we log on to our computers here. So we log onto the computers. It used to be through Griggs County, now it is not. It's through NR. I'm not IT. I apologize. This isn't my lane. Before 2021, when we went through Travis, when we logged on, it would say log on to the Griggs County or griggscounty.nd, whatever. Now when we log in, that's not there.
Okay.
But I know we were connected with Travis and then NRG come in and took over our computers, not IT. Don't.
No, well,
Be nice.
I know, but if it truly was separate, then it shouldn't matter if we don't let you on our system, which it does matter if we let you on your system, because without Griggs County system, yours can't function. So they are not autonomous systems.
So
they are tied together.
So I think what NRG wanted originally was admin privileges to the server. That's what Travis was opposed to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need
if
it.
NRG doesn't have, I'm okay with that. If NRG doesn't have admin privileges to our, to the
Well,
Griggs County
because,
server.
but then if you have a problem with how your system operates within our system and ultimately within the state's system, someone has to have administrative privileges to go in there and fix that. And so that creates a problem. So then now, if that problem took place, now Travis would have to go in and fix that administrative problem, and then he would be doing that. How would he be paid for that? How would he be doing that as a Griggs County IT person, or would he be doing it as a social services IT person? And that's where the problem lies. How do we share responsibilities when he was both? It wasn't hard to decide who he was working for, because he was working in conjunction for both of us. I think the only way to do this is to quit using Griggs County's servers and just switch it and run it through Nelson County servers. If they're on board with it, I think that would be the easiest way to solve this. Griggs County that would then be in the position of having our IT person, Travis, and social services would be completely separate from us, as Stephanie alluded to, and it wouldn't matter what you did in social services. If there was an administrative problem, Nelson County would work with NRG to solve that, and we would be completely out of that loop.
Who provides IT services for Nelson County?
Yeah.
Ready Tech?
Oh, so not third.
But it's not our problem.
No.
And it would somewhat square the circle a little bit. We've been providing these services pro bono. Why can't Nelson County do it for a while?
We're not gonna go down that road.
No, we just did.
If we're gonna start keeping score, I don't think Griggs County's gonna come out ahead. Let's put it that way.
Well, the whole purpose of these separate social services was so that Griggs County and everybody was completely out of the social service business.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no ahead. If we're completely out of the social service business, then we're out of the social service business. The state keeps trying to bring us back in. And so
You're shooting the messenger.
Well, no, but-
I've got nothing to say to that.
Well, what John's talking about with the server, would that work? Will that work if we just ran it through Nelson's County and we were?
It could. I did, I contacted, Ready Tech. We had a meeting, Ready Tech, myself, and who else was on there? NRG, I believe, to have everything, so have us all off-boarded from Griggs County. There's seven of us users that use the computers regularly, but we also have a couple, we have to keep a public computer, so if somebody wants to come in and apply for services,
Mm-hmm.
and then one for issuing SNAP benefits. So there's a couple of other computers that aren't used as much. So a total of 13 computers would have to be off-boarded off of Griggs County, so taken totally off of that, onboarded onto Nelson County. That is an indirect cost which comes out of the county county general. That's what, the state does not provide for IT services. So NRG said we could do that, but if the state is going to offer a bunch of services, like we talked about Office 365, that eliminates the whole need for us to have a separate server because everything's gonna be cloud-based. So my thought is, do we go down the road and spend, and I don't know what the cost is gonna be, but you know, Travis is $300 an hour if you're not contracted. So if you look at 13 computers, an hour to get them off, an hour to get them on, just roughly, mathematician, how much is that?
Yeah, 3,900.
So let's just throw a number, say if it's $5,000. So is it worth it to spend $5,000 if in 2 months, and it's a big if, the state is gonna take that over and everything's gonna be up in the cloud? Do we hold on and wait for a little bit? Or do we spend the money and get it transferred over?
And then you would just still keep your
NRG
will still
separate.
maintain your guys' computers.
Yes.
And there's no problem with how this works now,
No.
unless there is some problem in the network, and
Right.
then the finger pointing.
Well, and then Travis says, I can fix it, I'm not contracted with Travis, so it's $300. So
Oh.
if we were to lose a file, NRG has no access to the server now. They have access to our computers, which run through the server, but they can't log on to the server and do that.
They can get on enough to fix your laptop. They can get on long enough to fix your printer. They can get on long enough to log in to help you get back into your Medicaid software, state software.
So the computers in Nelson County that are social service, do they then have the same arrangement with Nelson County, or are those computers then routed back down through our server
So
here?
what happened was, we're routed back down here for now.
Yeah. I guess it was a rhetorical question, I knew the answer.
Oh, was that for me?
No. So in essence,
You looked at me, I was like, is that for me?
well, in essence, we are running all the servers, all the computers for both Nelson County and Griggs County Social Service through our server here. So there is more to this than meets the eye.
I think leave things the way they are for now and let that cloud base happen and then move you away. Because otherwise, is it really worth the expense for anybody to be anything?
That cloud base is never gonna happen.
And say, well, you never know. They're
But
moving
if they're
quicker than they are.
moving forward with the redesign, they have to have that cloud base for the systems to work. So right now, everybody, most counties do case management. So that means that if you were to come to our office and apply for, say, Medicaid, you would get assigned a worker. When the state takes it over, and they need the IT in place, they need everybody in Office 365 first to get everything cloud-based.
And 365 is amazing.
So then once they get Office 365 in every office, then we're not gonna be doing case management, we're gonna be doing process management. So say if I work the intake process and I get all the geographical information and get all this, then I do my part, put it back in the cloud, the next person comes, grabs it from the cloud, pulls it down, does their piece, puts it back up till the case is worked. So that you could have 7 to 10 people touching that case from start to finish.
Yeah, it'll all be in one drive.
So that's the beauty of Office 365.
Yeah. I still say leave it.
And we could revisit it in a couple of months and see where we're at. Get a quote, what it's gonna cost to get everybody off one and onto the other. I mean,
Well, we still have the problem with our IT person being against what's taking place here. That's the purpose of this, is to try to settle the argument on how we're going to do this so that we don't have our IT person unhappy with the arrangement, because ultimately, the biggest user of our system is our local Griggs County people. And if they're not being served, they are the first priority. And that's where where we have the problem. So
Has Travis threatened to pull out because of NRC working on their workstations?
No.
Well,
but really, let's look at this. How many
He was
cases
just
does our
concerned
department
about-
handle? SNAP.
But these people don't have access to their server or
Programs.
anything.
I would say our department is probably the largest service of Griggs
I know,
County.
but you are not a Griggs County entity. You are an entity of your own, and that by design. The state took you people over.
No. The state took portions of us over. Oh, behave now. The state took portions of it over.
We are not
What
mandated
you and
to, we
I-
are not mandated to give the social services
No, you're not.
anything. Okay, that's so,
Well-
if we're not mandated to give any money to the social services, I believe that leaves the state completely in charge. We have been given the ability to levy dollars and send towards social services, but the argument that the state isn't in charge is not a very good argument.
Well, I agree with you. They're running the ship, but they're saying, however, until we are fully in control, we need your help. So they're trying to team with the counties, and I understand they're 90%, we're 10, I get it. That's how it is now, until they can get everybody switched over or whatever they're gonna do, but that's not gonna happen today, tomorrow, next month, next year.
Yeah, it still doesn't alleviate our problem that we have an IT person that's unhappy with the situation that's being put in front of them.
And what was Travis's solution?
He didn't have one.
All right, well,
As far as,
Fair enough.
as far as I know.
Let's have you get some information to see what it would take for us to get the cost wise to get these 12, what did you say, 12, 13 computers flipped over so they're on Nelson County system.
Can I just bring out a plan?
and that is if Nelson County will take it.
Take it, you know.
Well, either that or we just shoot it in the cloud. There won't be.
But here's where, and I'm going back, and I don't understand how this has to be, I get it,
Yeah.
but I don't get it. But when our computers were transferred over here, were you notified of that? Were you aware that Travis transferred all of us over here 2 years ago?
We wouldn't be. The social service, that was done via social service. I would have liked to have been aware of it, but it certainly wasn't. And that would have solved a lot of the problems, because I'm sure at that point we would have put something into place to deal with just what we're having happen here. But Travis had no reason to be in opposition to it at that point, because he was running both programs.
But what I'm saying now is it's still the same amount of users, and and maybe it's not the same issue. I think we're talking about two different things where I split the hair without bringing you along. So Nelson County, the employees in Nelson County have been using Griggs County's technology for how long?
I understand.
Okay.
So Travis's issue is that he wants to fix her computers if she has issues.
No, and so the issue is, we pay for, we mean the citizens of Griggs County, put money towards social services IT. We put
Yep, because
$13,000.
A mil, a half a mil, 11,000.
Yeah. And we also pay for the whole portion of Travis's. So to take care of Griggs County's portion of social services and the IT in Griggs County, let's just say that number, let's say that number is $74,000. How are we going to assure then that Griggs County's share of taking care of both those services is still $74,000 when we have two different contractors quoting prices? Now, we could very well have Travis leave his number at where he's at now and have NRG raise theirs to 18,000. Now, in essence, it costs this split then costs the citizens of Griggs County $6,000 more. We have no way of controlling those costs once that happens. So I don't know exactly what the solution is, other than getting completely out of it so that we don't have to worry about what the social services costs of that will be. We'll still pay it. We'll still pay our $12,000, but we know what it is. Or is the solution to say that if Griggs County is going to pay IT money to social services and Griggs County, we would like it bid as one contract where the provider for both is one and the same. And low bid takes the contract. So we'd put a contract out and say, okay, this is for IT for Griggs County and Nelson and Griggs County Social Services, and put it out for bids and see what happens. That's the only way to protect the taxpayer and make sure that they are getting as much bang for the buck as they were under this arrangement we have now.
So if she could provide service and have both companies to hit your dollar, it would work.
No, if it goes out in bids. So here's the only fair way to do this is to
I
put it
think
on
we're
bids.
making mountains out of molehills and
No,
making a bigger
we're
deal
not.
of this
Just
than it needs
watch.
to
No,
be.
we're not. Watch what happens. Because there's no cost control this way. And
So
so then it just says, well, we need more money for this, and more money for that, and more money for that. And every time we spend more money, it doesn't come from some magical place. It comes from your property taxes and yours and yours and yours. And so the only way to control this is a little bit at a time, and have a policy in place that keeps those controls in place. Is it too much to ask they know what the services need to be provided? Why can't we put it out in bids and say, guys, we don't care if 10 of you bid it, what's this gonna cost us? What's wrong with that?
So this sparked because Travis wanted to amend his contract. So then when that was what sparked all of this going on, I'm lost right now. So I need to be brought back in the loop.
I don't know what sparked. Oh, I know what sparked it. All of a sudden, Travis didn't have the NRCS, didn't have this social services contract, and I don't know. I don't really care how it happened. I care.
Would we have
how
known
we
that
fix it.
if Travis didn't try to amend his contract?
No, he brought it to amend it. He brought it to amend it.
He brought to amend it, remember that from the
Right.
January, or
And we didn't.
And then how did social services come into the mix?
Well, social services got into the mix when social services dropped Travis as the contractor.
But Travis wasn't aware that they dropped him.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he was aware or not.
Is that why the contract was amended? Was because social services dropped him?
No, I think the reason he dropped it because he thought it was too high. Not too high, but he was $14,000 a year, I think he is. Now when he dropped it by $910, something like that. And the way I understood it, he was trying to be competitive with the other IT people around.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So I don't think the amendment had anything to do with this, because when I called Travis to have him be on the agenda for the next meeting, that's when he brought this up.
Okay.
I think what John's saying is that how do we know that what Travis has offered is a good bid?
Yeah, right. So the only way to know that the Griggs County residents are getting the most bang for the buck is to let numerous parties offer.
Bid on that?
Tell NRC you want them to bid out the whole Griggs County.
Not gonna happen. So,
I know.
and for a number of reasons, but I also wanna point out that not everybody has, the knowledge of our software programs and the things that we need. And if we have an IT problem and we can't move ahead, and we have to wait to do what we have to do, how is that benefiting the taxpayers or clients that we are supposed to serve?
That's why I think the ultimate way to solve this problem is to let Nelson County, if Nelson County and their provider can do this, then that will solve everybody's problem. We're done with it. We don't have to, we'll go on with our IT person, or maybe we'll bid it out. Maybe we'll bid our IT contract next year, and maybe Travis won't be the person. We don't know. But we won't be hamstrung by having to, right now we're hamstrung by having to have social services IT provider mesh with ours. And that doesn't seem possible. As you see, their social services IT person will not bid ours. So then the other way to do it is force Mary to take Travis as her IT person, and that's not beneficial to Mary. So
I suppose we all can't play nice in the sandbox.
Right. So we are.
What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. So we are in a quandary.
Pickle.
Yeah. And I respect that you want a different IT contractor, and you have to respect that a lot of the people in Griggs County that use the services like the IT contractor they have. And that's really kind of what it boils down to.
And I can't have mine and they can't have theirs.
Yeah. So that's why I say.
I think you can, because if he doesn't have to get into the server, he's fine. If he wants to fix your desktop, let him fix your desktop. You know, I have no problems with that.
If you can bring us prices on what it costs for them to,
Off-board and on-board and.
yeah,
Okay, I can do
I
that.
think, and then we just wash our hands of that.
Yep.
And,
That's what I believe.
and then,
And then who pays for that?
So
We
that's an
do?
indirect fund, yep, comes out of the indirect.
and then we'll,
So we,
let's see if we can't ask Travis what he charged to do that,
$300 an hour, non-contracted.
you know. So let's see
I
if we
know
can't
that.
get a bid on what it would cost to do 13
13 computers
computers over to,
in Nelson County.
Yeah.
But I have my own server, so
yep,
I'm
yep.
just like this, and I'm not IT,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's-
me, I've
so
seen
we-
it.
so excuse my ignorance here, but if I have my own server, I don't understand why I have to have Travis's permission, but you have to come through Griggs County stuff, which
Yeah.
would be eliminated by going through Nelson County.
Yep, it just,
So you're kicking a can down the road.
just a
so
simpler.
what are you getting out of the Griggs County server? What info are you getting off the server?
No, it's access.
What access info?
Accessing. Access to the internet.
Access to the state network.
State network stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, unlike you and I, the Griggs County can't go directly to the internet. They have to go to the state through their security systems and then to the internet from there. And the same way in the way back through. So anything that's done on the internet has to be vetted, vetted by the state, so that that's the security part of it.
Mhm.
Did the state ever supply each county with equipment? Because I'm under the assumption that the state came in and said, okay, each county, here's equipment so that you have access to our programs and to run our things.
They give you the programs, I believe, but I don't know, I'm not a
Yeah,
IT person.
I don't know that they've given equipment. They seem to send bills pretty regular for services.
Everybody wants to get paid.
Yeah.
I can check into that too. I suppose I can ask Terry Trainer or somebody how that all works, but somewhere along the line, I had heard that the state had set it all up, so the state, and I'm sure counties have added to it, they've enhanced it, they've modernized, because I know you have to keep up with the updates, so I could also look into that.
But, you know, it just make more sense to me if it seemed that you would have the access in Nelson County much more so than we would in Griggs County.
Or is it
Send
just
you
giving Nelson County the problems that we're having here now?
Yeah, because I mean, you've gotta have way more people using social services in Nelson than you would when we only have 2,300 people in
Or
Griggs
you would be
County.
surprised, I could get you
Yeah,
caseload
I'm sure we
numbers of
have-
each
Yeah,
county. Nelson,
they're
Griggs
pretty
are-
similar.
They're
Really?
very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's not that big a population difference either.
Oh, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's-
But if the Nelson County IT person is willing to work with the social services IT person, and Griggs County's is reluctant, it only makes sense to go to Nelson County and let them do it, or at least the
And that's what-
path of
You
least
chicken.
resistance.
Or,
Chicken.
or have the IT person, I mean, to flip the
Well,
computers over.
if NRG and
Yeah.
Ready Tech will play nice together, and NRG and DNA won't play nice, well, let's get the two that play nice together and leave the other kid out.
I agree with you, but there's gonna be a cost.
Yeah.
That's the whole-
Yeah.
And it's only gonna cost the good people of Griggs County taxpayer money to find two people to play nice.
No, either way it is, because we're still gonna have the ongoing costs of maintaining the system if we keep it in Griggs County.
Mm-hmm.
And if we force, I just don't know how to I don't know how to go about it, other than, again, the cleanest way is to either let Nelson County do it and pay our fair share, or
Get rid of Travis.
bid it, not get rid of anybody. Put it out on a fair and equitable bid, and the winner gets to do all of it. That's the fairest way to do it. That's the way we do everything else when we're spending taxpayer dollars. We make sure that everybody gets a chance and that the best service at the lowest price is the one that gets to accomplish the task.
I'm just sad it's come to this, because I just thought it worked so easy for my department, because I know what my needs are.
Mhm.
I know what I need to do, so I just thought it'd just be, okay, we just switch, because it was so easy to get on, but I'm finding it's very difficult to get off, John.
I'm not finding fault, but you see, you're looking for the easiest path out, and that throws us all on to Griggs County, and then we have to deal with the fact that now our Griggs County employees are unhappy with the service they're getting.
I don't want that.
No, neither do I. So if we can be shed of it, everybody wins.
Just leave me alone, I'll be shut up. Right?
I'm all in agreement. You leave the Griggs County taxpayers alone for the money they put in there, and we will leave you alone.
Wait, say that again? Say that again?
You leave the Griggs County taxpayers alone for the money for social services.
I can't.
Well, the state could, because we're not mandated to that money is put in there via the goodwill of the citizens of Griggs County. And I'm not against that, but it is goodwill. It's not by law. And
I brought my law this time, John.
I know.
Oh, you did it now.
No, I didn't.
No papers.
My Bible.
And I'll prove it to you, because if they had the authority to take money from us, they wouldn't ask us how much money we're gonna give them, they'd tell us how much money we're gonna give them.
Well, and the state has taken over. Can't see with these on unless I'm.
Trial, no, they haven't taken over yet, it's a trial basis, because they wanna bail out in case it doesn't work,
But they can't, because the law says they can't. We cannot go back to milling
you know?
for social services. So they pay our salary, our benefits, our, did I bring all that?
Yep.
I can show you exactly.
No, I know what it is, I know what it is.
So here is what the state pays for, all of this.
Yep.
Here's what the counties are asked to pay for, but all of that doesn't come into play.
No, I understand that.
Do you want to see this? Have you ever seen this?
Sure.
Okay,
You explained it right there. Here's what the state pays for it, here's what the county is asked to pay for it. And that was my point.
wait,
That was my point.
I'm thinking there.
But anyway, Mark made a good, I think, a solid proposal.
Well, let's get a price to see what we're looking at anyway. Go on.
Yeah, I think if we get a cost for what it would take to offload those 13 computers, and then we'll know whether it's worth it.
So, North Dakota Century Code 50-01.1-04. Paragraph 2, partways down, it says human services zone, no, that's not the part of it. Each board of county commissioners also shall budget and approve amounts sufficient to defray that county's anticipated indirect costs of the human service zone. Shall.
And how do you determine that cost?
By what the state says is your IT, your mailing, your,
I think what John's getting at is a shall and not must.
And that's supposed to be offset, of course,
I think
by.
shall is
Yeah, shall is must.
will.
Right. But then that's supposed to be offset by, of course, the money that the state gives back to us for those services, which is rent in the building, electricity, snow removal, and all the rest of that, is what's supposed to offset that dollar amount. We're in a quandary.
yeah, so, so I do the last, how many years have I been here? Nelson, 4 years, Griggs, 3.
Yep.
2021 is the first year that Griggs County taxpayers have ever put any money into social services.
Let's revise that.
Okay.
The money that we had in reserve in social services when it switched over to the state system, we had to leave there. We pushed $100,000 of Griggs County taxpayer dollars into social services, and then it had to be spent within social services. That's why the van and the computers and all the rest of the stuff got bent. So we paid in advance, we didn't, so the notion that Griggs County taxpayer dollars weren't in there until last year is not right.
Okay, so, I gotta go back, I'm really going back in this old computer here.
Yeah,
2017 was a legislative session where they did the pilot. So they said, when did they start giving the money? Was it 16 they started? They started with the grant fund out of that, so that wasn't taxpayer
and
dollars?
they froze the budgets at the same time, and when they moved forward, that money in the, remember, if we would have had the money, if that money wouldn't have been in the budget, we didn't have to give the money, but once it was in the budget, it reverted to social
So
services.
$30,000 of that went back into the county general fund. I was able to carry over $100,000,
Yeah.
but $30,000 of that went back in.
Oh.
Then the following year, social services wrote a check to Griggs County for $11,000, $12,000,
That was for
And
the
they
rent
did.
on the, yeah.
and that was for 25% of the 3-year average of the countywide cost allocation.
Yep, but the $100,000 still went towards, that had to be spent, remember, it had to be spent down because you
Spent
couldn't
down
carry it
anything over
forward.
$100,000 went
And-
back to the county general.
No, it
Yes.
went for the van and all those kind of things.
Right, but we spent down and it went back to the county.
Well, it ended up in social
general.
services and indirectly,
Well, right, we
Yeah.
benefited from
yeah,
as much as we could.
yeah. So, how it got there, indirectly, it wasn't available for other things to be used in Griggs County. It was to be used towards social services, and everybody was fine with that.
Thank you.
But, yeah, it will be a lot easier when this gets to a point where it is what was promised to Griggs County and the rest of the counties that social services was completely state-run and funded. That will be easier.
Okay,
There's so many layers to that onion, I don't even wanna start peeling it.
let's get a quote
Yep.
on that,
Okay.
and we'll
Go from there.
and
We'll go
we'll
from there,
What it's gonna
yeah.
cost to
visit,
move us.
yeah, keep in touch.
Even,
I can do that.
yeah, both companies.
And it may come to pass that Travis is just unhappy.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Travis directly, and I probably should, because I haven't talked to him directly to see his feelings or what his thoughts are. But
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
thanks,
guys.
Mary. Okay, moving on.
I'm not even bleeding. That's the way.
You gotta go get the bids, yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, tax director duties, I looked at that, and if
That
you
was,
saw the final number, that's.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think we can skip over that deal.
Okay, so that was how you guys wanted to go forward, was you wanted to contract it out. So I did get this proposal. We are receiving the farmstead credits and the homestead credits and stuff like that. Connie does have them in a pile. There is things that do need to start getting done, little bits here and there. How do you guys want to go forward with that?
Do we open up the position for tax director again, equalization person again?
Advertise again or whatever.
Advertise again?
To get the accounting employee?
Yeah.
I saw,
In the meantime,
yeah.
if Connie or you can do it again like you did last year, and we'll go on.
So graciously.
Who did we have file the stuff we needed with the state last year?
These guys did the sales ratio study.
They did the sales
Yeah,
ratio
yeah.
study.
How much that cost, do you remember?
I don't know offhand. I know that she was still, she needed to get me some more information, and she got it to me today, so then she submitted a final bill this morning.
Oh, she just did.
So that'll come before you guys next
Okay.
meeting, but
Okay.
I don't know exactly how much that is.
Do any of the surrounding counties tax directors have, would they do some of these minor things that need to be done?
I can ask, would you like me to ask? But that was my thing is, in the past,
None of them would do it?
well, I don't know which tax directors you wanted me to ask, because I know, Steele County's tax director is very, very good. I don't know the other ones, and so I don't know if
Didn't Steele County's tax director help us out in this one?
he helped me do all that stuff after David left. But
Why don't you ask him again?
yeah, his name is Ben
Ben Gates.
Gates. Yeah.
Yeah, ask him again.
So I can ask him, but I don't know the other tax directors. So we haven't had always the best tax directors in the past. So I don't want to go and ask somebody if they maybe don't know our system or
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll contact Ben.
Are we gonna advertise for another
That's my
position?
question, I guess, should we put the,
If that's your wish.
Put it in the paper, so if we get anybody to come, that's reasonable. What do you,
I agree.
Advertise for 2 weeks. Start at 2
That's
weeks.
my opinion, yes. Let's start somewhere.
Is that a benefit to the citizens
to advertise for a tax director?
to hire one?
Well,
Or to try to do it internally?
If we can do it internally.
Can we do
or-
it internally efficiently, or do we have people have enough jobs of their own that they can put this one on? I don't know. And why do other counties have tax directors and we do not? Because we're better and more efficient and our staff can do it?
What would be what do you envision that the tax director would do to make things more efficient in Griggs County?
You let me know why other counties have them and we don't. Are you able to do all the jobs without it? Do you want to absorb the position and what that needs to be done?
That's not the point.
Well, who's gonna do it, is my point.
No.
Are we just going to appoint it onto her and say, hey, do your job and this one too?
The job can be as much or as little as, for years, the tax director position didn't do much at all. There were no sales ratio studies done, then the state just used the sales ratio study done from the year prior. There's been lots of times through Griggs County history where it was just a minimal job. There's been times where it was expanded up to do a lot of things. You have to understand that for every tax dollar that Griggs County takes in, it offsets a dollar that the state has to contribute to a lot of things. So it's beneficial to have a tax director in Griggs County and have taxes high in Griggs County. It's beneficial to the state to have it done that way. We happen to have the lowest property taxes per average in Griggs County than any of the surrounding counties around us. Is that good for our citizens or bad for our citizens? That's somebody's, that's in the eye of the beholder. But every position you add to a bureaucracy creates a need to be financed, and the financing comes from the taxpayers.
Okay.
So
we pay the Steele County guy to do the work then?
well, what we've done in the past is, yes, you pay, if you can get it down to pay for a minimum. See, I believe the minimum, from looking at this, is not worthy of a full-time position or even a part-time position. It can be done on a fairly economical basis if you can find someone to do it. But you can never hire someone to do it because everybody wants to work full-time or make, as should be expected. They have to be able to earn a living at it. I just don't think that the job is enough to justify that. And that's why it'd be easier to find to do in-house somehow. And that's always been the goal. And it can be as complicated as you want to make it. Nelson County, I believe, has 2 tax directors, don't they?
One tax director.
Just one. So you can make it as complicated and as simple as you want to do it. There really isn't any guidelines on what has to be done other than the will of the people that are doing the job, I guess. But I guess it comes down to what is the job of the tax director? What do you envision the job of the tax director, and how does that affect the people of Griggs County?
especially the county, at the county level. Dale knows, and Scott, it starts at the township level.
Correct.
And, yeah, it goes from there.
Yeah, if the job at the township level is done correctly, the according to the Century Code, the tax director doesn't have much to do. They're just supposed to advise the assessors, really, is their only job, and compile some information. Now, no doubt, some of them get a lot more aggressive than that, but it is, I've still yet to be convinced that aggressive tax collection is good for the residents of the county.
So we paid the Steele County guy to do it then for us?
Well,
Because he doesn't want to do it for free. No, but
We would pay Steele County
so we're,
to rent their employee out to us, is how we did it before.
Like a contract.
just on a per job.
Yeah, like how many hours we had him, he submits a timesheet, and then the Steele County would ask for us to pay them. I know last year I did ask him to help us with some of these things, and he was unavailable because of the COVID
Yeah.
situation. He's also the DES over there.
Yes, okay.
So it was kind of, he wasn't able to do it, so then we needed
Yeah.
to get our sales ratio study, so we did have these people. A lot of the other, jobs or whatever, the little things like the homestead credits and things like that, Connie was trying to help with that and do it as much as possible. And then we would just pay her those hours that she was working on those things.
fair enough.
And compensate the people in-house that do it, and
Sure.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not tacked onto the job. It's
No,
like,
no,
this is your
no.
job, and then some. It's like, oh.
No, that hasn't been the case.
That has been the case. We've been trying to do the minimum required, and the minimum required shouldn't cost as much as a full-time tax director. So
Or even close.
or even close, right? And then, so that was, I guess maybe that we should explain that. We weren't pushing it onto somebody and making them do it. We were offering and then compensating them for doing it.
Perfect.
And then anything that she wasn't comfortable, like she wasn't comfortable doing the sales ratio study, so then that's
That's
when you
been over
would.
to Steele County on that one, or talk to them.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And in the whole time, then we were pushing back on the state as to what was mandatory and what was the minimum, because we wanted to do the minimum
And
that
they
needed to
won't,
be done.
they won't tell you.
They won't tell
They
you.
tell you to read the Century Code.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so we reverted back to the fact that quit asking them what needs to be done, react to what they want done.
And they've also told us you can't take the Century Code literally, so that's,
Oh, really?
oh yeah.
Oh.
You can't blame them for trying. But you
As long as
can, but we can be blamed if we go along with it.
Okay, that's fair enough. This is fair
So,
enough.
so don't advertise
No,
or advertise.
don't advertise, and as long as
And see,
everybody's
If
compensated.
we can
doing it.
limp by, I think,
Yeah.
and
contact Steele County and see if they'll do our
Okay.
ratio or whatever that we have to have done, supposedly.
And see if Connie's willing to do the homestead and
Yeah.
veterans credits
Yeah.
and stuff like that
Yeah.
again. Okay.
I believe so.
I think our veterans officer too kind of helps make sure the veterans get their.
I think he
Yeah.
tries to do the
Yep.
applications
along
for
with
them,
that.
yeah.
I would like to see more outreach to the senior citizens. I think there's still quite a few people out there that would be eligible for the tax credit as far as their homes, and they just don't know how to do it.
I know that we tried to send like a little thing insert in your tax statement
Yeah.
and stuff.
Because that money is compensated back to us from the state.
Yep.
So if senior citizens or disabled or veterans qualify, they are written down basically. They don't have to pay property tax in their home, and then Griggs County is then compensated from the state for that. It's a state program.
Okay.
So it's a win-win. Our residents that qualify don't have to shell out that money, but Griggs County Treasury still gets reimbursed from the state.
Oh,
How
nice.
active is the Senior Citizen Center in Benford or?
Well, of course, with the COVID now, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
And you know, we always tried to get the tax directors to push that program, and the last three, we could never get to push that program. We wanted an outreach to the senior citizens, to the veterans, and to the people that would qualify, and then help them fill out the forms and push that thing. That would be a benefit to the citizens, and we could never get that done. They would never do that. In that instance, they would have helped pay for their salary, or would have been beneficial towards their salary, but that didn't happen, so.
I wish I thought of this sooner, but, you know, or even reaching out to social services would maybe help with some of those cases.
Mm-hmm. The disability, maybe in the disability part of it, yep.
Yep. Okay.
Interest collection
Statistics?
Yeah, spit that out for me, thank you.
This is just from Connie's office. Every year, you guys just have to see it. No action is needed. She just gives you some information the first of every year and the first meeting of every year. And it wasn't quite ready the last meeting, so this is just for your guys' information. If you had any questions, you can contact her. She wasn't going to be able to make it today, so
That's good.
Everything looks like it's right on the last 6-year average. Okay, EDC board appointment.
I was approached by the city and asked if one of us would serve on the EDC. I think Sean was last. And I figured you would, they meet Wednesday mornings and I knew that would be difficult for you. So I volunteered Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, God.
I thought maybe with a chance your dad was on there for many years, if that'd be something you'd be interested in or not, or.
When is that meeting again?
I meet once a month, and on Wednesday mornings, I guess. If you don't wish to do it, I guess I would.
No, fire meetings was only once a month. I'd have
I
more
thought
time.
that went
to
away.
do the other ones.
They've got money. They've got money, so what they're
JDA went
doing,
away.
Huh?
JDA went away. Not
what they
EDC.
do, they make community loans to businesses and that sort of thing, and then when that money gets paid back, then they can borrow that out again. So they kind of work as a bank or whatever, so.
I'll take it, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, Scott, you're volunteering for EDC board. Very good.
Yeah.
Old courthouse, new courthouse.
No updates?
Nothing new.
What was the deadline again supposed to be? When in January we were supposed to get the
The
final
first of
report?
the year was supposed to be a drop dead deadline. I don't know. I contacted her after that and she was in the process of getting it.
Evidently, she didn't want her master's degree.
Yeah.
No.
This was a thesis for a master's degree, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone got an extension.
Yeah. COVID.
And we were part of the parties that approved that extension.
Yeah. I mean, that was the reason for the deadline. It was. when we
Imagine the
asked.
semester was up, so.
Yeah. She had to have her thesis turned in, or he or
He, I
somebody.
think it was a he.
Okay.
Future business.
Is Mary gonna be on the next agenda? Is that when I put her on?
Yeah, I would assume she'll have some
I'd
information.
give her a month. I mean, this is in 2 weeks when it's the next one, isn't it?
So don't do it the next meeting, do it.
Have
But
her-
I think whenever she gets put on there, I think you gotta have the contractors involved too, on there too, because, so we can ask questions.
Just like we do when we do maintainers, the people that, the representatives are here.
Yeah, I mean, because if
Let's wait till
we're
she-
just guessing on what they're,
Yeah, I don't know anything about IT. She doesn't know anything about IT.
then, so when she's on there, let's have
NRG.
and DNA on, let's have them on there.
NRG.
NRD. Have her tell you when she's got everything put together to be on there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we should probably have the Nelson County contractor, if they could be there too. Well, we're only gonna get this fixed if we get everybody out there.
That's right, get everybody together.
And what are you guys gonna do?
How can you play together with the same toys?
Yeah, and do it without being so expensive.
Yeah.
Well, that's our main, we always have the ability to put out on bids. We can say, okay, we're gonna bid this out.
But there's no sense on making huge changes for one thing, and I know that's your point, but. Anyways,
And
There is.
and last time we looked at IT services, Travis was significantly,
He was.
I
We have
don't
bid-
want to change Travis. He's
Yeah.
We have bid it
he's
before.
been here, he's local now.
Well, I mean, I don't want to do any of this, but we didn't bring this on. All of a sudden, this got put in front of us in one meeting, and it was just a little contract
Yeah.
change, and everybody said, well, why is that? And then we started digging, and Scott and I attended the meeting, and it appeared it was larger than it appeared.
Yeah.
I missed those. I was like, where's this coming from?
So, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
anything else for the good of the order? Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for this meeting.
Scott made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Ah.
Motion carries.
When's the next meeting? When February 1st.
You wanna say the time?
Meeting was adjourned at 4:02
South of Mac.
on January 21st. Next meeting will be February 4th
Three now, there's three
at
from-
2:30 PM in this
All kinds
room.
of